This time to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our last April meeting.
Mr. Chair, so moved.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? None, Alex. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Mr. Hendrick.
You have an application by Cozy B. Lennons and Moore LLC to rezone from agriculture to business B1. This property identified as county tax number 202-000-A-002. Zone agriculture is located on the west side of Highway 903 at its intersection with Frank Lane. Election District 6, County of Mecklenburg, reference D Book LR-22-2211 and Wheel Book WF-13-280.
Anyone here would like to speak on behalf representing the application? Hearing none, I would open the public hearing on this application. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. District 6.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve this application with requirements of the Planning Commission.
Motion's been made to approve the application. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
You have an application from Danny and Cheryl Fox for a special permit for a firearms and sporting good business. This property is identified as county tax number 174-000-A-007, zone agricultural. It's located on the north side of Route 707 Phyllis Road, approximately 1 mile southeast of its intersection with Route 824 Eastland Creek Road. Election District 7, County of Mecklenburg, reference D Book B&P 342-113.
Mr. Fox, would you like to speak on behalf of the application?
Good morning. Appreciate y'all time this morning. I'd like to ask y'all to approve it. As many of you know, I've been operating that out of my home since 1983. It is licensed by the ATF and the Virginia State Police. All checks are done as according by law. Appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you. We'll now open the public hearing on the application. Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. That is in my district. I would like to make a motion to approve this application. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you. All right. Kevin, got a public hearing on the 6-year plan. Mr. Gravitt, I think you involved in this too, huh?
Thank you. Good morning. Today we're looking at programming for the 6-year secondary plan for 2030. We're looking at programming $488,513. That's enough to do 2.4 miles of dirt roads in the county. On April 8th, we had a meeting with the Secondary Roads Committee. We looked at the traffic count on the top 4 dirt roads in the county. After reviewing this, we was suspect on 2 of the roads for the traffic counts, for errors in traffic counts. Recount was done on those 2 roads on April 10th, and both of them come back to be below the 50 car minimum to get those roads paved. So that left the top 2 roads in the county. The first one was Willard's Mill Road, 1.6 miles. The other one was Dixie's Bridge Road at 0.82 miles. That's what we're looking at adding today. The secondary 6-year plan was advertised in accordance with section 33.2-331 Code of Virginia. I'd be happy to answer any questions if y'all have any.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Smith? Hearing no questions, I will now open the public hearing on the road. You can speak during the public hearing. Please come up to the podium and state your name. And I'd like to remind everybody in the public comment section of this, 3 minutes is the limit on speaking.
I hope to keep it a lot less than that.
Yes, sir.
It's concerning the paving of LeGrand Road.
Can you state your name, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Tim French. And we have a petition here that the residents of the road have signed to request that it be tarred and gravel. And I'd like to have, I don't know the procedure here, but I'd like to have that road added to this 6-year plan if we could. And I haven't spoken to you, I don't know you, but, and I don't know if he's the correct guy to go to, but my wife has been dealing with this for 6 or 8 months and we've just been spinning our wheels. So I'd like to at least find out in this hearing the correct procedure, protocol, whatever to.
He would be a good place to start.
Okay. Okay, so I know we had asked for a counter to be put on the road and to date it hasn't been, so. But if he's the guy, then I'll talk to him after this meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Here you go, sir. You won't catch me after me getting the call sometime today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else would like to speak during the public hearing? Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing. And we need a motion to adopt the 6-year plan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I'd like to request a motion to adopt the 6-year plan as advertised.
The motion's been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. You're going to give you a regular report now.
Next on the agenda, if you want me to go ahead.
Yes, please.
Let me swap pages here. All right, y'all, we've got our monthly report in your board packages. A few things I want to go over. Our rural rustic projects this year is 757 All Goods Lane and 668 Dry Creek Road. We're planning on starting both of them in July on construction. Let you know that mowing has started today on both primary and secondaries all throughout the county. So y'all be seeing our tractors on the road. The Route 660 Bridge project is complete and that road is opened up now. The Route 660 project that's between Ridge Road and Route 92, that is under construction. That road is closed as of now.
What is the length of that construction project? Do you know?
Roughly
Roughly?
mile and a half, I think it's.
No, I'm talking about how long will they be working on that?
Oh, how long? Spring is the estimated finish date, but I think
Of next year?
of next year. I think
Like,
they're
so a
going-
year, basically.
It depends if they hit the paving schedule or not. The paving schedule closes, what month does it close?
October.
November? If they can hit it
Okay.
before then, they might be done.
I
but we
think
weren't
it's a pretty
sure.
long project.
Yeah, we weren't sure if it was gonna hit or not, so we gave them until next year in case.
Yep. The Route 58 mile marker projects that we're going to be doing in Brunswick and Mecklenburg County, we're going to start them after the Route 58's been mowed. We're going to get the grass down before we start marking them. And the stop sign at Baskerville and Union level, that's been converted over. The yield sign's been converted over to a stop sign. That's all I've got this month. If y'all got any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, sir, Mr. Smith, in your morning, when you get down to the convenience center at the trading post, can you hit that hillside again,
Yes, sir.
please? Because that's becoming a blind spot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate
I'll pass that on to them to
All
make
right.
an extra lick for you.
You know, so, and I guess I hate to be picky, but since we're picking spots, but right after you come off of Ridge Road on 58, coming back this way, there's a spot on 58 that I almost throw you out the road. You probably are familiar with it.
You talking about pavement?
Yeah, it's just a spot right the size of this room right here, probably.
We've got a paving job that's going to be on the westbound lane. Is that what you're talking about?
It would be the westbound.
Okay, we got a paving project that's going to be in there, and it's going to address.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
pretty
sure it's going
rough.
to be
It's in the
addressed.
slow lane.
Concern.
Yeah. You've probably gone through it, Sterling, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the bridge approaches, we got money programmed in for that for the next fiscal year. We're going to start in July. Hopefully you see the contractor start hitting these bridge approaches that y'all questioned me about before.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate that.
thank you so much. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. All righty, we've got a resolution. Mr. Brankley is going to handle that.
How you doing, sir? I tell you, it gives me
Paul?
great pleasure this morning to read this resolution for Paul that was here on, his vision and dedication to this county and for our school system that, and the trust he built with all of us. It was we just wanted to make sure that we recognize you for what you've done. So I like to read this. I usually look at Jenny last this morning, so I hope I don't see nothing new on it. Whereas Paul Nichols was born and raised in Mecklenburg County, and from this report, Paul embarked on a 4-decade career in education. Whereas this career took the form of a multitude of variety roles in the field of elementary, secondary education, including direct student engagement as a teacher, counselor, and as an administrator, as well as through contributions to the education system by the Virginia Department of Education and certain consulting and nonprofit roles. Whereas in Mecklenburg, whereas in December 2015, the Mecklenburg County School Board named Paul Superintendent of Public Schools in Mecklenburg County, where he spent nearly 8 years as the foremost educated Mecklenburg County Department finished with the transformation of the opportunity afforded to the students of Mecklenburg County. Where this implementation of transforming, he took the form of physical and instruction from the preparation, development, and construction of a new Mecklenburg County High School and Middle School, and the revitalization of Boston Elementary School to the introduction of dedicated STEM-based education in the elementary school, and the reinvigoration of career and technical education as a core component of the secondary education system. Whereas to accomplish these initiatives, Paul adopted a partnership mentality with the other organizations in Mecklenburg County, therefore fostering the bond of friendship between MCPS and those originate organizations such as county government, government school of Southside Virginia, the Southside Virginia Community College, Mecklenburg County Business Education Partnership, and others. Whereas in 2023, Paul opted to retire from superintendent, and whereas the Board of Supervisors is extending grateful to Paul for this service to the county and for the close relationship that Paul has conducted between the board and the Mecklenburg County Public Schools. Now, therefore, it being resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Mecklenburg County that Paul Nichols be commended with his tenure as superintendent, thanks for his impact on generations of school children in the county, and his board wishes for his retirement of daily government service to be enjoyable for him and his family, yet equally and beneficial to the Mecklenburg County community. Thank you, Paul.
Struggled with the whole idea of building these schools, and I'm going to assume that the struggle will continue, but I'll never forget the night I was addressing the board on some questions that were it's been discussion. And when Bill Blaylock said he was in support, I knew he was in support.
That's a good. You're right.
Thank you very much, much appreciated. I look to leave it in good hands. I believe Dr. Martin's doing a good job. I will miss all the interaction. I don't know why board superintendents don't understand that they work for two boards, not just one board as they go along. And I hope that county will move forward many years to come. And thank you very much. Alex, good to see you, but we will miss Wayne.
Okay, moving right along. Alex, we got public comment now. I would like to remind everybody on the public comment, you've got 3 minutes to talk. Hope you get everything in that 3 minutes, because when the red light goes off, you got to stop.
All right. I can't really make out the first name, but 20 Dogwood Way in Bracy. Oh, wait, hold on. There's no, one sec. It's front and back. Okay. The first person is this Irene from on Rhodes 277 Dennis Lane. Is that it? Anybody? Does that sound familiar at all? Okay. Tim French spoke. Brandon Estes. What?
All y'all. Hope you're doing well today. I'm here to speak in opposition to the Long Road Solar. So I guess I'll just sort of try to speak from the heart here. So, you know, a tree by its fruit, right? What is the fruit of that we've seen the results of solar energy? So places like California, you know, rolling blackouts, rolling brownouts, scheduled brownouts where you will lose your electricity at certain points in the day because of the amount of wind and solar energy. Why is that? Wind and solar energy is unpredictable. You cannot predict when the output of that energy is going to actually produce in the grid. So it creates spikes and downturns in the amount of electricity that is in the grid, which means that all other types of energy that is produced in the grid, natural gas, coal, nuclear, they have to spin up, spin down constantly to try to meet the grid to make sure that it is level and even, because otherwise someone goes to turn a light on and it doesn't actually come on because the right amount of electricity was not produced in the grid, right? So that's not good, obviously. And with the amount of industrialization we have in our country going on, how are we going to be able to sustain, you know, our needs and our power needs? Right over here, Microsoft, as we know, right? They support solar, but I'll tell you, I don't think that they support solar because they like it or that they think that it's actually reliable. They just want tax credits. They want money off of their bill, whatever they can get. And that goes into the solar industry in itself is 1,000% subsidized by the government. If it was not for subsidies from the federal government, it wouldn't exist because it doesn't produce enough electricity in itself to sustain itself. I want to say Dominion Energy. It was either their gains or their taxes or whatever. They reported a 1.5 billion? I think it was $1.5 billion loss due to the amount of investment they made that did not repay them because it cost them more than it did to actually produce the electricity. So that's obviously not good. But then you've got the aspect too of what does it do to our environment? You know, the cadmium telluride, we keep bringing that up. We've talked about this before. It is a poisonous substance. The EPA, the OSHA, the NIH have all determined that cadmium telluride is poisonous to human beings. when the panels are shipped, I believe they have to be labeled as hazardous material because of the level of hazardous material that's in the panels themselves. That leaches off the panels and goes into.
I'm gonna have to stop you now. 3 minutes.
I have a few minutes left. It looks like here on my timer that I set on this.
No, we set the timer when you started talking, and it goes off to yellow in 2 minutes, and then goes off red in 1 minute.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the next speaker we have here is John Labin.
Good morning. I'm John Laban. I live at 405 Scotts Crossroads, which is right across from the Seven Bridges installation, solar installation. When they first proposed, when Long Road first proposed it, I looked at the setback that they were having. I went out along Scotts Crossroads and measured how far back they were setting. I put up flags. I put up sheets some places so you could see exactly where they were. I was not in favor of it. Long Road came back and had other hearings and talked to us. And I am now in favor of it. They have moved their development so far back. There's no problem from where I live and where my neighbors live on Scotts Crossroads looking at this installation that's going to be there. So my attitude changed tremendously. The other thing, in looking into there's a debate about, do we buy solar panels from First Solar, or do we buy them from somebody in China? First Solar is here in the United States. They have to obey US laws on hazardous materials. And as far as I've been able to determine, cadmium telluride in its form in solar panels is not hazardous. You have to work really hard to make it hazardous, grind it into a powder. But if we buy panels from China, they ship them here, and they're done with it. That's all. I would rather see Long Road develop this project because they seem to really care about doing things right. And from what I've been able to see about First Solar is they work really hard, and they're working on how to recycle this stuff rather than just dump it into landfills. And I'm not going to be around in 30 to 40 years. I'd like to be, but I'm probably not. And I would very much not have a problem develop for my children who will take over after I'm gone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you can control. Oh, okay, that's what you're saying. Next speaker we have is Sandra, is this Grizon? Grizz something? All right, well, would he like to come up and speak?
Yeah, I'm Durwood Grissett, and I live on Scotts Crossroads, and I'd like to make a couple comments about the Seven Bridges. One, the latest version I've seen showed 150 feet buffer between our property and the solar property. And I'd like to see that go to 300 feet, because 150 feet, you can still see the solar panels. So I'd like to make that recommendation. And also I go along with John on the manufacture of United States versus China. I would prefer that we go with the United States manufacturer if at all possible. So that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Mr. Fox, did you want to speak on something else? Okay. Hale McCabe. No. Okay. David D. Onforinio? No. Okay. George Tomes?
Pass him around to the board members, please. My name is George Toombs, Sachs, Virginia. And what y'all have proposed is the rotting whale on the beach, in my opinion, that we're headed toward. And I'm a truck driver, and I've had to haul this hazardous waste in the trucks to North Carolina, from Norfolk. You had to be hazmat to haul solar panels, cadmium telluride. I've asked the industry, what do y'all have in place as an industry right now to tend to the decommissioning, defunct, or damaged solar panels? And I haven't got a straight answer. I know of no landfills that can take them right now. But we have uncovered in my county that this same solar company has Mr. Charlie B. Payne storing the panels. And according to his own testimony, they were going to the Amelia landfill. We've also come to the understanding that there have been solar panels buried in with the regular trash at the Danville landfill. This thing reminds me of the carrot or the corn on the end of the string and the little rascals that they're leading the mule around with. And I don't see anything good coming of this. I see these counties holding a big problem at the end of it all. Dominion is not one company. There are many companies. And if we run into a problem and we sue Dominion, they're going to say, oh, it wasn't Dominion at large. It was this subsidiary, bankrupt, and then we're left holding the bag. And all these developers, I look for them to disappear before all this is over. The Democrat New Green Deal it's not looking good. And no food, no farmers. All of this is taking farmland away. It's destroying farmland, and without food security, we have no freedom. And the freedom is disappearing fast. But the only thing that anyone can point to is $1. And it's real easy to get people on board with you. If somebody was complaining about solar or whatever, they used to have a word out here, bribes, but these days in these counties, it don't look like anything's a conflict of interest or anything's a bribe anymore. This deserves a further look.
Thank you.
John Jansen?
Mr. Chairman, ladies, gentlemen, members of the board, my name's John Jansen. I'm from South Hill. I heard an interesting quote yesterday by a gentleman by the name of Arthur Schopenhauer, and that is that all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it's ridiculed. Second, it's violently opposed. And third, it's accepted as being self-evident. The developers in these projects have been known to you for many years. And if you look at something as simple as what was mentioned earlier about the toxicity of the panels, they have promised you for years that you could eat off them, that they're perfectly normal, nothing, no harm, no anything. And it's come to light that the very developers that you're discussing in closed session today have been illegally burning their packaging and waste, most likely some of the damaged panels. They've been disposing them in landfills. The landfills in question are licensed by DEQ for municipal waste only. They are not licensed for toxic or medical waste. And what's happening here is you're seeing the tip of the iceberg of a tremendous industrial toxic contamination of parts of our community by the installation of these industrial solar sites. Grasshopper, for example, I talked to Kathy Keel last night. There are large sections of that the racks don't even follow the sun anymore. Nothing's working. The word on the street is it's producing less than 20% of its rated capacity, but nobody will tell the truth about it. If that is in fact the case, those are thousands and thousands of panels that now need to be destroyed or replaced, or a situation where the LLC that owns it might just walk away. If they walk away, you have a $5,000 an acre closing bond, as I understand it. If you have hail damage, storm damage, find pits where these things are buried, so on and so forth, 5,000 an acre would never cover it. The county could be looking at a liability that's hundreds of times what the benefit is from approving these sites. And therefore, Friends of Meharon all along has asked, watch what you're doing. Watch where you're putting these. Why are you putting these in critical habitats while DEQ turns a blind eye to the findings they made when they inventoried the land of Virginia? They make a lot of nice promises to get these things in. They will tell you anything you want to hear. But until we figure out what's really going on with the sites that have been approved and what it really might cost to close these things down, if the LLC that owns it happens to go belly up, I think it is incumbent upon this board to protect the citizens of Mecklenburg County and approve nothing more until you get a grasp on what's going on now and the true nature of the industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next person is living at 20 Dogwood Way in Bracy.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Ann Clevis. I moved here from Silicon Valley. I know electronics business 35 years. Excuse me. I also have a degree in biochemistry. I know this. Solar farms are definitely not good, but what I want to talk about is cost versus price. There's a what they call base load batteries that have to go in these solar farms. For $1 million, it's 1 megawatt. That equals 2 million for 1 hour of storage. For 12,000 megawatts, it goes up to 14 billion for 1 hour, 24 billion for 2 hours, 36 billion for 3 hours. That's the cost. That's not the price. These things are noisy. They are very expensive, and they further go to destroy land. We are responsible for the next 7 generations. Honor the earth for those not yet born, all the living and all that will be, and for your children's children and all that follow. So let's take a hard look at what the cost is. To run a house, to run a country, to run a county, to run a city, you need to know what the cost, not the price. You buy a house for 100,000, you find out it needs 50,000 more, your cost is 150. All these costs have to be taken into account when you make decisions that are this critical. So not only the earth, but all the taxpayers, they're funding all of this green climate con. I also have many charts and graphs. We have over 10,000 pages of scientific evidence. The solar costs $471.60 per kilowatt hour, where natural gas is $27.08, because it adds in all of the different costs, not the price, but the costs. I was going to put a manufacturing plant here and decided to leave in California because of what's going on in this county. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oops.
All right, next we have Lori Huber.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Lori Huber. I live with my husband, Ross Huber, on Highway 58 in Boydton. Ross couldn't be here this morning, but he shares my sentiments. I'm here to express my support for the Seven Bridges Solar Project and to request that the Board of Supervisors approve the use of American-made solar panels for the facility. These panels have numerous advantages over Chinese-made ones. They produce more energy per panel. They produce them using less water and less electricity, and the manufacturer has committed to recycling their panels. I think that's really important. I'm going to say it again. The manufacturer has committed to recycling their panels. The Board of Supervisors has specified in other solar development agreements that panels using cadmium telluride are not allowed in Mecklenburg County. These panels that the developers want to use include minute amounts of the material cadmium telluride. The manufacturer, First Solar, has committed to recycling their panels and panel waste. When they recycle the panels, they recover more than 90% of the semiconductor material, and that is where the cadmium telluride is used. What is not recovered is managed still at their recycling facility, which is miles and miles away from Mecklenburg County. Let me back up a moment. I retired last September after more than 40 years working with the Department of Defense and private industry. My work involved helping clients comply with state and federal environmental laws. My work involved hazardous waste management requirements as a central part of my activity for 42 years. Fundamental to the hazardous waste rules is the proper identification of hazardous waste. That's the first thing you do. If it isn't hazardous waste, you don't manage it as hazardous waste. If it's trash that you feel like you just want to toss in the garbage can and you're in an industrial setting, you better test it first and make sure it's not hazardous. For waste containing metals such as cadmium telluride, the toxicity characteristic leaching procedure, TCLP test, is used. This test looks at how a waste would behave in a landfill. What the test does, it's a lot like a coffee maker. You've got your coffee grounds in the basket with the filter. That's your waste. Rain percolates through the soil. Landfills eventually, no matter how new they are, no matter how well constructed they are, they eventually leak. The leachate comes off. So the TCLP test looks at that brewed coffee, the leachate that would come off this waste, and they test it to see what, if any, contamination would come from the waste. Representative samples of these panels have been subjected to this TCLP test, and they do not fail the test. They're not considered hazardous. Finally, remember, landfilling is the worst case scenario. Everyone from the manufacturer to the developer to you, I assume the Board of Supervisors want.
Ma'am, I'm gonna have to stop you now that 3 minutes is up.
Okay, it's going to be recycled, not going to the landfill. And it's mostly glass, just plain old glass.
Next speaker is Judy Brothers.
I'm Judy Brothers. I'm president of Friends of the Meharon River. We're very concerned about this project being located where it is and the environmental effects. So I have old news and new news. The old news is that our government, including the NIH, OSHA, and others have, and the EPA included, have already determined that these chemicals are dangerous. And that's a fact that you can look up for yourself. The new news would be the new law that the EPA has passed. This is an article out of North Carolina that states that polluters must pay to clean up areas contaminated with PFOA, PFOS. The EPA has announced a new rule regulating the two compounds as hazardous substances. This was passed April the 19th, I believe. So the new rule is going to even include the Department of Defense to adhere to these new requirements. So there's an article on this that I can share with you if you need. There's another article out of Raleigh. There's a scientist at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency that has confirmed Friday that the PFSA chemicals compounds are used in the production of solar panels. And in a response to the request of the North State Journal, the EPA physical scientist, Dr. Mark J. Striner, provided 39 records from the SciFinder database used by the EPA to identify applications of PFAS with solar panels. So these articles are here for anyone who would like to read them. So the EPA is cracking down on this now. We know, that the chemicals are there, and it's also saying now that the polluters are going to be held responsible. So they will be legally and financially responsible for contamination. This is just an issue that's been going on for a long time. We know that the Virginia Coalition for Human Rights has been on this for years. So maybe we need to stop and take a look at things before we proceed, because our Meherrin River is pristine. It has ancient rocks. It has species that are on the verge of being extinct, and it's relatively untouched at this point. And I personally, I'm not willing to sacrifice that for something that is under fire right now and is all over the media that there are issues. So I appreciate you hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker begins with a DE in the first name, and it looks like maybe Lawrence is the last name.
Mr. Gottschalk, would it be possible that Mr. Sherwood first and then just switch our roles?
That's fine.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Board Chair Jennings, Supervisors, thank you for your ongoing consideration of the Seven Bridges Solar Project. I'm Cliff Scher, Development Director with Long Road Energy. We are a developer, owner, and operator. Since 2016, we've developed over 5,000 megawatts of projects across the country, and we currently operate over 5,000 megawatts of renewable energy projects across the country. And we approach every project from the perspective of a long-term owner, operator, and long-term member of a community. We're here today asking to move forward with a siting agreement that does not ban the use of First Solar's American-made cadmium telluride technology. As an update, last month we had an open house at the Estes Center in Chase City. It was well attended. We had a number of neighbors there. And as you've heard today, people were generally happy with the progress that we've made as far as increasing the setbacks from the neighboring properties. We was also attended by First Solar, who had a solar panel with them of the type that we are looking to use at the Seven Bridges Solar Project. Now, Seven Bridges Solar is located inside of a commercial timber property. It will not be visible from neighboring homes or from public roads. Over the years that we've been developing this, since 2017, we've made significant changes to the project, including adding a 400-foot setback from the South Meherrin River and a 400-foot setback from Scotts Crossroads. We've also heard you speak today, Mr. Grizzard, and we should talk this week about increasing your setback to your property, because that's something that we can accommodate. We've included commitments in the siting agreement to address concerns about solar panel disposal and the safety of solar panel materials. That includes disposing of solar panels outside of Mecklenburg County and ensuring that any panels that we use pass the EPA's test to confirm that it's not hazardous waste. Now, First Solar's panels have been proven to be safe, and they're made in the US, supported by over 16,000 American jobs. We know that this community values using American-made products and driving the growth of American manufacturing. Building this project would help drive American manufacturing and support the Commonwealth's clean energy goals. So for all those reasons, we ask that we are able to enter into a siting agreement that does not ban the use of First Solar's American-made technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairman Jennings, Board of Supervisors, my name is Darren Lawrence. I'm the person in charge of permitting over at Long Road Energy. Been there since its inception. So look around, I see many familiar faces here. I've been coming since 2017. That's 7 years working here, talking about Seven Bridges Solar. Our founders weren't kidding around when they named our company Long Road Energy. They also weren't kidding around when they said we make and honor our commitments. That is our motto, and that's what we stand by. It's something that's in our souls. We are committed to making sure Seven Bridges Solar also follows their commitments and is a great project. You don't have to just believe me. Go next door to Halifax County. You can ask Dietrich Easley, the zoning administrator. He's been with us the whole way. Scott Simpson, the county administrator. Jeff Francisco, Forrester. He was also the Board of Supervisors member who went through permitting with us for the whole project. And then Mr. Otis Vaughn, building inspector. He's been out to the site countless times. He has seen it from the beginning, middle, and now at the end of construction. He can tell you about our project and how well we built it. I'll mention the DEQ's been out to site quite a few times. Ian Edwards, DEQ stormwater inspector. One of the best pollution prevention plans in construction. Good job. Keep up the good work. This is something he wrote in one of his inspection reports. I'll add, we are proud that we are the first and only Pollinator Smart certified large-scale solar project in the state of Virginia. We're not even done with construction, and we have flowers growing all around the site. I'll share these other photos with you as well. We have followed all the legal requirements, laws, regulations, rules for handling the panels, for installation, for transport, for disposal. And we've been very careful about how we handle all these panels from start to finish. So my request is simple. I ask you to support our siting agreement, and I ask you to let us use US-made panels from First Solar. I would much rather not build a project and use panels from some company from some other country. On a more personal note, I just want to let you know who's coming here today. My grandparents raised me on a cattle ranch. I grew up wearing ranch and duds where I'm a lot more comfortable in wearing this. I pulled more fence and I baled more hay than I can even remember. My little town I grew up in didn't even have a stoplight. So these values that I grew up with, these are ones that my grandmother and grandfather instilled in me. And they're ones I bring for Seven Bridges and to the neighbors and to making sure we are a good neighbor and we build a great project in this community. So I'll finish by saying we've been planning at this project for a very long time. We take the long view, make good neighbors here at Long Road Energy. And I ask you to support us and we will not let you down. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you.
Pascal Caputo.
Excellent pronunciation. Very impressed.
I got one, yes.
Yes.
But that's the biggest 3-minute book I've ever seen there.
Just give me a few more minutes. I might need 5. My name is Pascal Caputo, and I am the Governmental Affairs Manager for First Solar. I'm here to support the use of our panels in the Seven Bridges project. First Solar is America's largest manufacturer of solar panels. We are a publicly traded S&P 500 company with more than $3 billion in net sales last year. Unlike many panel manufacturers, First Solar doesn't manufacture any solar panels in China. Our panel technology is not new technology. First Solar has sold more than 60,000 megawatts of panels. That's hundreds of millions of panels for use in tens of thousands of projects in the US and around the world. Not only do we manufacture in the US, but we've invested in a largely American supply chain, which is creating jobs and ensuring US energy independence. More than 50 researchers from leading institutions, including Virginia Tech, have confirmed the safety and benefits of our panel technology. The binder that I have here, these are the studies that have been done that confirm the safety and benefits of our project. I've got 24 reports here, 670 pages. It's not just me. These are people much smarter than me that know what they're talking about. Our panels are used in solar projects owned by some of the largest utilities in the country, including Dominion, AEP, the parent company to Appalachian Power, NextEra, Duke Energy, Southern Company, and sophisticated corporate buyers like Microsoft. This demonstrates the trust in our technology among highly informed end users that are responsible for the safety of their customers and neighbors. They would not be using panels that are dangerous in any way. In more than 20 years of selling our panels, we've not had one reported incident of adverse impacts to human health or the environment, even after they have sustained direct hits from hurricanes and tornadoes. Our panels undergo and pass an aggressive leaching test designed by the US EPA, where panels are broken into small pieces and treated with an acidic solution. Those are conditions much more aggressive than what you would see in the field. By passing this test, we are federal non-hazardous waste.
We prefer that our panels be recycled, but without a doubt, they can be placed in a landfill. The fact that somebody says our panel goes into a landfill, that's not a bad thing. It's non-hazardous. We prefer the recycling though. Our panels are also used in proximity to bodies of water, including creeks, lakes, and the Atlantic Ocean at the U.S. Navy's Oceana Air Station in Virginia Beach. If you look at the satellite photo, you can see the water right next to the runway. You see the solar array there. Our panels are also installed on top of a drinking water facility in Berlin, Germany. The county doesn't allow us to use our First Solar panels. The only other option is going to be crystalline silicon panels that are largely manufactured by Chinese manufacturers. I asked the board to support First Solar, an American manufacturer that creates American jobs and supports U.S. energy independence, rather than making a decision that will likely benefit Chinese manufacturers. And if you want to see, this is an actual piece of a solar panel from First Solar. Happy to pass it around. I've been holding it. It's safe. It's not dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blake?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Blake Cox, and I'm one of the founders of a nonprofit called Energy Right. And I've been in front of you guys several times, but just as a reminder, Energy Right was founded to educate around energy being developed the right way on the local level, with folks on conservative ideals like property rights and all of the above approach to energy. And we've had the pleasure to take this message to over 65 plus counties across the Commonwealth. So, and I just really want to start my comments today by focusing on the question around the safety of First Solar panels. I thought obviously Pascal did a good job, much more knowledgeable than me in talking about the merits of that, but I want to bring some of the experience and that we've been able to have around the Commonwealth and seeing other counties go through this process. And I'll say you guys are not alone. You know, a lot of folks have heard cadmium, you know, when it comes to this, and they get worried and they have questions, understandably. But I can think to several specific examples where folks have gone through this process and landed on the side of these panels are not toxic. First example I would give is in Olive White County. Very similar. There was a different developer who exclusively uses First Solar panels, and lots of questions. Planning Commission supervisors in the community all wondering about the safety of these panels. They also add a condition in there, and you've heard other people reference this, being the T-clip test. And after going through all their own research, hearing from folks like First Solar, they were able to decide that this was a safe use. Very similar scenario down in Sussex County. Same thing, first project using First Solar panels. They went through it, did their own research, landed on the side of this is a safe panel technology. And then I think a really interesting one would be Caroline County, where they had similar questions, went through the whole entire process, and they actually landed on the side of, no, we want everyone to use First Solar panels moving forward. And so I just want you guys to know you're not alone in this. I hope you'll land on the side of using First Solar panels and allowing them within the county. They are American made, and they will help this community realize the benefits of solar within the county. So thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Michelle Warner?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is my first time ever doing anything like this. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Michelle Warner. I'm the general manager of the Microtel in South Hill. Now, I can't really tell you anything about the safety or anything that's going to happen with these projects, but I can tell you how it's going to benefit us in South Hill, Mecklenburg County, and et cetera, by them hiring people for jobs. I'm going to be able to house them at the Microtel. We're going to be able to give them rooms, which we'll be giving taxes to the city and the county that will help with, police officers, firemen, schools, and et cetera. So I'm here to share more of what we can and I can personally gain from what the project is. And we are for the solar panel. And that is pretty much all that I needed to say. I don't have much more than that. I just feel that it would be a great idea for them to come here, and what we will end up, us as a company, as well as the town restaurants and the shopping centers, will also grow from the assistance of this project. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Ernest, you want to speak or not? Okay. That's it.
That's it.
That's the list.
All right. Thank you, Alex.
Moving along, Ms. Lundy, I believe
Yes.
you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Joint Education Committee.
Joint Education Committee meeting, 175 Mayfield Drive, Boynton, Virginia, Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024, 4:30 PM. Call to order. The meeting was called to order by Mrs. Claudia Lundy, Committee Chair. Members pledge allegiance to the flag. Roll call. Members present, Claudia Lundy, Mrs. Brenda Blackwell, Board of Supervisors, Mr. Glenn Edwards, and Mr. Ricky Allgood, School Board. Mr. David Franklin and Ms. Dora Garner were absent. Also present was Mr. Alex Gauchow, County Administrator, Dr. Scott Warner, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Brian Dalton, Executive Director of Facilities and Operations, and Ms. Paula Glamour-2, Clerk. Adoption of the agenda. Mr. Edwards made a motion, seconded by Mr. Allgood, to adopt the agenda. The agenda was adopted with all members voting aye. Information item. A, Clarksville, Chase City, and La Crosse Elementary update by Mr. Brian Dalton. Mr. Dalton reviewed the presentation on the Clarksville Elementary project. The project completion date remains the same and is also remain within budget. B, D's for the complex. Mr. Dalton also. He requests the committee consider consolidating all of the property purchased for the complex into one deed, and that the Board of Supervisors transfer deeds for the property purchased by them for the complex to the school board. This will allow the school board to purchase one title insurance policy to cover all property purchased for the new school complex. Once all the property are combined, the total acreage for the new school complex is estimated to be more than 200 acres. Members also discussed adding security gates. Elementary rezoning, Dr. Warner Scott, Superintendent. Dr. Warner reviewed the presentation with the committee members regarding the recommendation of rezoning the elementary schools. The presentation may be seen on board doc. The goal is to more evenly spread out enrollment numbers at the elementary school and make sure bus transportation is no longer than 50 minutes for all students. Public forum have already been held at Chase City Elementary, La Crosse Elementary, with low community participation. Clarksville Elementary will host a public forum tonight at 6 p.m. South Hill Elementary will host a public forum on April the 16th. The school board will hold a public hearing on May the 13th and review the options and public feedback on May the 20th. The school board will vote on rezoning at the June regular meeting. D, additional discussion. Committee members discussed the PPEA process and moving forward with the design phase for the Chase City Elementary. It is anticipated that the school board will move forward with the same architect and design team that was selected for the Clarksville Elementary project. The redesign of the Alternative Learning Center is scheduled to be completed by July 2024. Adjournment at 5:07 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Lundy.
Action is needed.
No action needed. All right. Mr. Hargrove, we got budget and finance now.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Budget and Finance Committee met on Wednesday, May the 1st, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Members present are myself, Chairman, David Brinkley, Tom Tanner, Sterling Wickelson, Brenda Blackwell. Also present, Jim Jennings, Claudia Lundy, Craig Gravitt, Dennis Spence, Alice Gottschalk, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Lisa Wagstaff, Commissioner of Revenues, Marsha Simmons, Treasurer, and Jenny Whitmore, Clerk. The chairman called the meeting to order, and Mr. Gottschalk reviewed the following budget amendments. The amendment summary is the revenues. Under that, it will be general funds, non-general funds, expenditures, general funds. Under that topic headline of expenditures, also the non-general funds under the expenditures. And upon the motion, Mr. Brankley, the committee voted unanimously to recommend approval of the budget amendment as presented. Upon the motion, Mr. Wilkerson, the committee voted unanimously to recommend the FY 2024-25 budget to the full board for approval, and it has been presented, or as it has been presented. There was no further business. The meeting was adjourned. Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board receive their pronouncements as recommended, as amended.
The motion on that.
No, we can do that through item K.
Okay. All right, that'll take care of it then, right? All right, thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Economic Development, Mr. Brankley.
The Economic Development Committee met on Monday, May the 13th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors Meeting Room, Board of Virginia. Members present, David Brankley, Sterling Wilkerson, and Dennis Spence. Others present, Jim Jennings, Andy Hargrove, Claudia Lundy, Brenda Blackwell, Kurt Gravitt, Alex Gottschalk, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Angie Keller, Economic Development Director, and Jenny Warren, Clerk. The chairman called the meeting to order. Mr. Gottschalk reviewed the bid received for the Bailey Campus Water Supply Contract D12-inch water line. Upon a motion by Mr. Spence, the committee voted unanimously to recommend approving the lowest bid received from HG Reynolds Company at a cost of $864,641. I'd like to put that into a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brankley. Motion's been made to accept that bid. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you.
Also, Mr. Gottschalk reviewed the bids received for the RRBP pump station. Upon a motion of Mr. Wilkins, the committee voted unanimously to recommend approving the lowest bid received from HG Reynolds Company at a cost of $1,560,000. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that also in a motion.
The motion's been made to accept this bid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
There being no further bids, the meeting was adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Brankley. Ms. Blackwell, Personnel Committee.
The Personnel Committee met on Monday, May 13, 2024 at 8:45 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors Meeting Room. Members present, Brenda Blackwell, Claudia Lundy, Sterling Wilkinson. Members absent, Tom Tanner. Also present, Jim Jennings, Andy Hargrove, David Brankley, Kirk Gravitt, Alex Gottschalk, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Jenny Whitmore, Clerk. Upon motion of Mr. Wilkinson, the committee voted unanimously to convene in closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 223711A. Supervisors Blackwell, Lundy, Wilkerson voted aye. Upon motion of Mrs. Lundy, the committee voted unanimously to go back into open session. Supervisors Blackwell, Lundy, Wilkerson voted aye. Upon motion of Mrs. Lundy, the committee voted to adopt this following certification resolution. Supervisors Blackwell, Lundy, Wilkerson voted aye. Certification of closed session. Whereas the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 223712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed session to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors. Upon a motion of Mr. Wilkinson, the committee voted unanimously to recommend appointing Mr. Andrew Cox as Director of Building and Grounds. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned. Could I have a motion for the appointment of, is there a motion? So,
You make the motion.
oh,
So I make the motion to.
oh, I make a motion to the board to approve the, Andrew Cox as Director of Building and Grounds.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Blackman. The motion's been made to appoint Mr. Cox as Director of Building and Grounds. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Mr. Gottschall, we got a budget to vote on here, don't we?
We sure do. And before we begin here, I just want to thank the board for the extensive dialogue over the past few weeks. I think we have discussed a lot of items regarding the strategic direction of this organization. And I think that was a very useful, pertinent, and important conversation to be had, and something that we will continue to examine and look at throughout the years to come. At this point, we do have a series of actions that are necessary in order to enact the budget for the fiscal year 2024-25. The first item is the budget ordinance itself. That's ordinance will set the top level spending amount in the aggregate for the organization, will set forth who controls the spending out of certain different funds. For instance, the school board has the authority to spend out of the school funds, or social services board has the authority to spend out of the social services fund. And it also sets up the appropriation units for each of the individual departments throughout the year. The total budget landed at a gross amount of $291,409,531. When you deduct out the transfers to eliminate the double counting, the final net budget will be $240,259,153. For reference, the general fund total is $88,680,542. The biggest dollar amount difference between the budget that was discussed at a month ago and the budget as it stands now is the addition of the $6.5 million of Commonwealth funds in order or to support the Clarksville Elementary through the School Construction Assistance Program. All the other changes were more or less in line with each other.
Okay. Well, we'll entertain a motion to adopt the budget ordinance, and we'll have a roll call vote that motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman, to adopt the motion.
The motion's been made. And Jenny, you want to record the votes?
Ms. Blacko? Aye. Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. Okay, moving forward, we're going to go to the next tax ordinance. So you're going to go through the rates too?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I will.
good.
Yeah, so the rates were adjusted by direction of the board in the time between when the budget was proposed in April and through our deliberation period to rest at the final numbers for the upcoming fiscal year will be 36 cents for the real estate tax. The general personal property rate will remain at 336. We will adopt a new classification for personal vehicles as authorized by the General Assembly and the Code of Virginia. That rate will be established at $3.30. We will also create a new classification for one vehicle owned by a volunteer EMS or volunteer fire department member. That rate will be set at 10 cents. And then we also have a new tax rate for computer equipment and peripherals. That will be at 66 cents, which will be the equivalent of the machinery and tools tax rate, which is also 66 cents. Merchants capital will be 72 cents. The public service valuations are equivalent to the rates that were set out in the general. So 36, 336, 330 for a vehicle, 72 for merchants capital. And then mobile homes are going to be 36 cents, and bank franchise, although we don't have any of that, is 80 cents. So those are the tax rates that we adjust on an annual basis and that are included in the tax ordinance.
Thank you. I'm glad to see that we were able, and this county is strong enough to lower some of these tax rates for the citizens of this county and still maintain a high level of operation here. So at this time, I'll call for a motion to adopt the tax ordinance.
I move to, Mr. Chairman, to adopt the tax ordinance, please.
The motion's been made. Jenny?
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
The next item we have is the adoption of the CIP for fiscal years 2025 through 2030. The CIP this year for the total, which includes year one, which is included in the budget ordinance that was previously adopted. And then for planning purposes, we have the next several fiscal years. This is for both the county and the school system. The total amount of the CIP for all of those years combined is $160,002,666. Of course, the vast bulk of that are the Clarksville Elementary, Chase City Elementary, La Crosse Elementary, and then the new county public safety building, as well as completing the construction project adjacent to our facility here. So those account for probably well over $100 million of that 160.
Okay. Call for a motion to approve the capital improvement.
Mr. Chairman, I move to a motion to approve the capital improvement plan for 25 through 30.
Motion been made. Jenny?
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
The last item we have here is a termination agreement of a post-closing performance agreement. This is done in conjunction with the establishment of the new computer equipment and peripherals tax rate that was adopted through the tax ordinance previously. This is adjusting the mechanism for which taxation will occur for that particular avenue of personal property. And that will be done for administrative convenience. If Russell wanted to weigh in any further on that, I would.
No, I don't
welcome
think so.
that.
I think the point is it's revenue neutral for Microsoft, which is one of the goals.
And this agreement, we need the approval of the agreement and also authorization for either the chair or the county administrator to sign the agreement on behalf of the county.
Okay. We call for a motion to approve the termination agreement.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. Jenny?
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. All right. Mr.
Did you
Gottschall?
need a motion to approve authorization of?
No,
Requested, okay.
no, it's all in one.
Okay.
One, yeah.
So you still up?
Yes. All right. So switching gears from the budget, the first item we have here is a revision to the small purchase policy. The General Assembly has set out that a certain threshold of procurement items can be done without a formal RFP, and they routinely set the maximum amounts. The counties or any local government has to adopt a written policy, however, in order to take advantage of that provision. The General Assembly this year, they made an amendment And as I was going and researching to incorporate that amendment for the documents going forward, I realized that our last policy revision was in 2019, and there had been a separate General Assembly amendment to that law that had occurred after we adopted our policy in 2019, but before the present one. So this resolution that's before you actually has two different actions that will come out of it. The first one will amend the policy to incorporate the change that was enacted by the General Assembly after 2019, but before 2023. That goes into effect now so that any items that we purchase through the end of this fiscal year are covered under the new thresholds. And then the second item will rescind the old 2019 amended by today policy, and will adopt a new policy beginning on July 1st and going forward under the new higher threshold as amended by the General Assembly in 2024. The biggest distinctions between those years is for non-construction related, not transportation related construction. There was previously in our 2019 policy and in the general law at the time, up to $100,000 that was allowed by the small purchase policy. The revision by the General Assembly after 2019, but before this year, doubled that to 200,000. And now this in 2024, they have increased that again to 300,000. And the biggest reason why they continue to increase it is because inflation and the general cost of construction projects are higher than they once were. The intent for this when it comes to construction is kind of minor construction, repair work, that kind of stuff, not a major construction project. So for instance, the renovation to our facility here would not qualify under this standard. But if we needed to, say, enclose an awning area, we probably would be able to get it under that threshold. So that's the big change. This is just done to account for the various actions by the General Assembly and to incorporate them into our written policy, which we must have under the relevant code section to utilize it.
Okay, we don't need a roll call. Though.
No, we do not.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to adopt the small purchase policy then.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Alex.
All right, the next item we need is, there are two separate items, but they're under the same topic. So when you dispose of land, unless you are leasing it to another local government entity, then you need to have a public hearing in order to get the views of the public before any action can be taken to dispose of that property. The first item is land at the school complex. That is one of the items that Ms. Lundy was talking about in the Joint Education Committee report. We will need to schedule a public hearing, as odd as it seems to give land from the county to the school system, but that's just the way the law is set out. And this is the 30-acre parcel that was purchased from the All Goods that is immediately behind the main parcel. That is being used for ag-related purposes. We just want to consolidate that all into one giant tract instead of having separate parcels at this point. So we will need a public hearing, and then after the public hearing is concluded, if you so see fit, then at that time in June, we will be able to adopt a action that would transfer that property to the school system.
Okay. Need a motion to schedule this public hearing for our June 10th meeting.
Mr. Chair, so moved.
A motion been made. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
And then the second land item relates to the Parkview High School project. The Parkview boosters wish to take ownership as per the agreement that we have that we're working on draft form and per their proposal that was presented to the board. They want ownership of the gym and the fields. So in order to execute a purchase and sale and development agreement with them, we will first need to schedule the public hearing, and then after the public hearing, then action can be taken to adopt the purchase agreement with that particular entity. This will be subdivided out of the main tract. The main portion, which includes where the school facility is, will remain in county hands while we are continuing to go forward with the developer for housing projects. But we need to secure certain National Register of Historic Places certification and do some environmental assessments before that would be ready to be transferred over to the developer.
So we need a public hearing on that, right?
We need a
In
public
June?
hearing right now solely on the disposition of the land that will go to the boosters.
We do that in June also.
That's correct.
So we need a motion to go take that to public hearing.
That's correct.
You know, one question, Alex, is that, if that's everything from the gym, that's going back up the hill, the parking lot and all?
Yes. So the exact subdivision line has yet to be drawn. We're gonna be out there with Crutchfield in the coming weeks to set the exact line. But the way it's been talked about is the line will go almost adjacent to the gym on the left-hand side. The front field will be covered as part where the band practice area was, will be covered as with the gym and the rest of the fields.
So to be, when it's all said and done, it's going to be two properties, not
That's
two
correct.
properties, and we still got a couple acres up there.
That's correct. It's going to be two properties, and one property will go from where you come off 58 to go up the hill to the parking lot on the side, and that will stretch to essentially the gym, but not include the gym. That will ultimately become the housing project.
Right.
And then the area that will go from inclusive of the gym, but include the gym, the front field, all the side fields, the parking lot that's not paved behind that, all the way out to Plank Road that whole portion of it will be included in this parcel that we are going to transfer or propose to transfer to the Parkview Boosters.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, so move that we take this to the hearing.
Okay, the motion's been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
The last item we have here that require action is the acceptance of a slope easement from Worthington Biochemical. This is at the Roanoke River Business Park. We are doing a road reconstruction project, turn lane entrance in that area in order to have the drainage for the VDOT and DEQ specifications satisfactorily accomplished. We need to pretty much tear up the slope and then eventually rebuild the slope which is currently now on Worthington Biochemical property. So they are giving us the right to go modify the slope and then later fix the slope to whatever the new standards are. But we require the acceptance of this slope easement in order for the project to be done.
Call for a motion to accept the slope easement.
Motion to approve.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then the last item, as always, is we have the many staff reports that are included in the packet for your review.
All right. Thank you, Alex. All right, moving right along. We got a lot of appointments right here now. All right, the term of Ms. Ramona Field on the Mecklenburg County Library Board will expire on June 30th, 2024. She's not eligible for reappointment. Does anyone have someone that can take her place? I see the library director has recommended somebody. Ms. Pam Barlow. Anyone know her? Do we want to go ahead and put her on?
The library board
No.
appointed her.
Ms.
No
Lund?
vow, no vow.
I don't know.
I don't know where, just got that information from the library director. He's recommending y'all appoint her.
Well, you got a month.
If you want additional information, we can go.
Yeah, let's do that
solicit it.
rather than just put somebody without knowing anybody on the board knowing anything about them at all. Okay. The term of Ms. LaFrida Ogman on the SVCC board will expire on June 30th. She is not eligible for reappointment. Anyone have someone that they'd like to recommend take her place? Do that that's a June 30th, so we can do that in June also. Okay. The term of Mr. Vin Montgomery on the SVCC Board of Directors will expire on June 30th. He is eligible for reappointment.
And he called and said he will serve again.
Okay, anyone like to make a motion to reappoint him?
Make a motion to reappoint Mr. Ben Montgomery.
Motion been made to reappoint Mr. Montgomery.
On the,
Which one? This one?
Subside. He's at subside.
Hmm.
He's at subside.
Substitute.
He's at college.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let me see, we're getting ready to appoint Ms. Sheffield to the Clio board. Somebody like to make a motion to, Ms. Sheffield, you got any comments you'd like to make? You've done it before, haven't you?
Well, I've gone to the meetings, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Okay, motion been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The term of Mr. Kyle Crump, Chairman of the Planning Commission, will expire on May 30th. He is eligible for reappointment.
I talked to Mr. Crump. He said he'd be glad to do it again. So I'll make that motion that we retain Mr. Crump.
Motion been made to keep Mr. Crump on the Planning Commission. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. The term of Mr. Mike Denton on the Lake Country Regional Airport Commission will expire on June 30th. He is eligible for reappointment. Mr. Gravett, that's in your area.
That's so moved.
Okay. Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye to reappoint Mr. Denton.
Aye.
Motion carries. The term of Supervisor David Brinkley on the local Department of Social Services will expire on June 30th. He is eligible for reappointment.
I move, Mr. Chairman, that he be reappointed as soon as
I
possible.
agree with you 100%.
Have you talked to him?
I haven't, but I know him well.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Got those squared away. You got the Roanoke River Service Authority minutes in your packet for your information. We got the consent calendar. Hope everyone's looked at that.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Motion's been made to approve the consent calendar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. All right. Board member matters. Mr. Wilkerson, you want to go?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a lot to digest this morning. But it's good to see so much going on in the county to be able to digest that. You know, it's a good position to be in. First, I would like to say thanks to VDOT for the stop sign that he mentioned earlier from Baskerville and Union Level Road. It really was a tough spot. The accident waiting to happen. So I'm thankful for VDOT's persistence with that. That's really all I had. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Blackman? No comment? Okay. Mr. Gravett?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to, again, thank VDOT for budgeting for the approaches on 58. They are much needed. So thank you, Mr. Smith and VDOT. Also want to thank Mr. Paul Nichols for his service to our county. And for him, hopefully everybody has a safe, happy month. We'll see you again next month.
Very good. Ms. Lundy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like, he's not here, I don't believe, Mr. Nichols, the past superintendent, for all the hard work he did with getting the schools organized. I worked kind of closely with him in the background doing certain things, and I enjoyed working with him. And I'm sure he will be a good consultant for us if we need him. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spence?
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone who commented on solar. It seems to be an important issue for our citizens. I also want to comment about the cleanup day that I mentioned last month. That went well. I hope that everyone will continue to pick up trash or adopt an area of concern that they might would pick up trash and that type of thing. I made a challenge, and so I have pictures to prove that
Let me see.
that I did in fact participate in picking up trash. So I continue that challenge not only to the board but to all citizens. Again, very important that we keep our highways and byways clean. We have a lot of visitors coming to the county. And it certainly makes a difference how we present our county to other people.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Franklin?
Well, just to follow up with the trash, try to make an issue out of that. But we got a neighbor down the road there that has been walking. He does a lot of walking, and he's been picking up trash himself. And those, and you can go by VDOT. And I talked to Mr. Smith and them today. You go to any VDOT thing, and they will give you those orange bags to pick it up and to put it in, and then they will come back and actually pick it up. And I hadn't got her down walk with him or anything. Maybe after hay season I will. But but I think we need to support those people and just, they really did a good job of going there. The sad part is, but once a week he's picking up trash again from the same place and doing that. And the other thing, man, it's so good to see that we are able to, things are going good where we can lower our tax rates and stuff for the county. That's great. And then Paul, Paul's come on kind of in the middle of us being on the board. And I tell you, it was a big trust built there between us and the board and him. And when he brought figures and the budget and stuff like that, he asked for what he needed and it worked out and not no more or no less than what he needed. And I thought that was always good, but his vision and all of what he wanted and thing, I think is going to be big going forward with the STEM thing and learning these kids don't all have to go to college. They can learn a profession over here today and make a real good living if they want to work and all. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I got.
All right. Mr. Alger?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, I count it a privilege and an honor to serve on a board that we all get along, even in disagreement, we still get along. And I also realize that we as a county have been blessed abundantly for the last 10 years 12 since Mr. Franklin and I have been here. So we are in a position that we have a lot ahead of us, but we all look towards the hills to ask God for wisdom that our citizens would be greatly benefited as we move forward into the future. And I have nothing else because David has said everything I was going to say, so we're just going to leave it alone.
All right, very good. I'm going to be quick here because I know we got a lot to do, but I want to thank Alex and the staff and Judy and all y'all for the budget and all the work you've done on it. Done an outstanding, superb job. Didn't want to discount anybody on that, and of course the treasurer and the commissioner of revenue, everybody involved that put this budget together and all. Thank y'all for keeping this county on the right track and providing the necessary things for the county and with the lowest amount of impact on the taxpayers. Just outstanding job. So Alex, if you feel like you need to go cut hay for the next 2 weeks, you've really settled into this. So if y'all see him leave, don't ask any questions. He'll come back with hay on his shoes or whatever. All right, that's all I have. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye. The motion carries. We're now in closed session. We'll take a 5-minute recess. Okay.
All right. Mr. Chair, members of the board, at this time, we will be moving towards the closed session of our agenda. We will be going into closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia First. That section says that we will be able to go into closed session in order to have consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. And the two items that will be discussed under this paragraph of the code will be the two solar siting agreements with respect to Dominion Energy's Finneywood project and the First Solar and Seven Bridges project. And then subsequently, we will be in closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia. And this section reads, or this paragraph reads, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiation or litigating posture of the public body. For the purposes of the subdivision, probable litigation means litigation that has been specifically threatened or on which the public body or its legal counsel has a reasonable basis to believe will be commenced by or against a known party. Nothing in the subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public is in attendance or is consulted on a matter, and this is related to a legal matter related to probable litigation.
Okay, so we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion been made. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
So we're gonna open the doors, let whoever's out there, I think some of them hung around.
They did.
So let them come in. Do you have the motion for the action?
Yeah, we need a motion for the certification and have it read.
I think he's worried about the motions for
Let's-
the
Yeah.
solar.
Right, correct. Yeah, but making sure we have those to be read.
Let's do the, gonna get the motion for certification. You're gonna read it. You want, I don't have it.
It would be similar to the one that would be in one of those minutes or in the personnel minutes.
Blackwell has it.
First.
Blackwell has it. Personnel. Personnel.
Andy.
The first one we're doing just. Finish.
You got it, Al?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
All right. The certification resolution is now before the board. The resolution reads as follows: certification of closed session. Whereas the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed session to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors.
All right, I need a motion to adopt that certification that Mr. Gottschall just read.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye. And the motion carries. All right, at this time, we're in open session. I'd like to welcome everybody back. Absolutely. I'll give you a second. So,
Thank you.
I think Mr. Brinkley has some comments and a motion to make.
Yes, well, the first motion I'd like to make is, I would like to make a motion that we take Finneywood to the public hearing in the month of July on their sitting agreement.
Motion's been made. Any discussion on the motion?
It's July 8th, just for the public.
July 8th.
Right.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. And do we have the other one?
Yes. You mean to read it? It's really what Mr. Brankley said. It's a motion
Yep.
to schedule a public hearing on the Seven Bridges Solar siting agreement for, let me see, I get this right, August 12, 2024.
Okay. Y'all have heard, somebody can make that motion on what Mr. Slayton read.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Motion been made. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. And the motion carries. Any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, we stand adjourned.